Recording's ready whenever you are.
Alrighty, I'll introduce myself real quick. My name is Jared Krieger. By day, I'm the Director of Operations and Training for Defender One. We're a security training and investigations company up in Reisterstown, right by Franklin High School. By night, I'm the EMS captain at Reese Volunteer Fire Company right down the road. So this is right up my alley. Really, really easy. These devices are relatively new, but pretty simple. Can you hear me without it? No problem. Pretty good. So these devices are relatively new, but they're pretty simple to use. We recommend you use it after you've tried the Heimlich maneuver. What you're going to do, basically, and I'm going to have to put this microphone down at some point. Right. The goal is to get a really good seal with an appropriate size mask that's been provided in the bag. Okay. Obviously, the shape of the mask corresponds to the shape of your face. So the top part's going to go over your nose, and the bottom part's going to go on the bottom of your chin. And I'll demonstrate for you a little bit later in the presentation. But the idea behind this is that we're creating suction to move or delodge something that may be stuck in somebody's windpipe or airway. Now, granted, they're not perfect. Okay? Things may still get stuck, or things may move different directions. Right? In general, you're going to get some movement. If we can just clear a little bit of airway space, right, we can get a little bit of air exchange. If it doesn't work, stop trying. You may need to move on to a little bit of CPR before first responders get here. But these are really good tools. So the way they work,
It's on the bottom.
there we go. So the way these work, I'll speak a little bit louder for you. The way these work is they create suction, right? They're simply mechanical mechanisms, right? Can you guys hear that? Right, you see, stuck, easy enough. Okay, it moves both ways. So when you put it on your face, and I'm going to use this mask, if that's okay, put it on my face. So the way it works is it goes on your face, and then there's a C method with your hand. So everybody put up their support hand, okay, which means you're not strong hand. Okay, an L or a C, right? When you put it on somebody's face, you're going to make a C. Okay, this is tight on my face. Okay, the only way I can breathe is through this thing. Push far forward as far as you can, and then pull back. Okay. You're going to go all the way down as far as you can, and then pull it all the way back. Okay? I said earlier that you might want to get somebody against a wall or on a table or on a chair. Your instructions say that you should do it on the ground. If they're really to that point of choking, they're probably going to be on the ground anyway. It happens. When you make that clamp, as hard as you can push. If they're choking, they're not going to mind that you push on their face. It happens. Okay? Push all the way down, get a really good seal, and let it go back with a nice, strong pull. Okay? It's going to be suction, so you're not going to pull off, but just make sure that you're holding it just in case you don't accidentally slap somebody in the face. Right? Pull it back. The goal is to, your question?
Yeah. When you push it in to make a suction or vacuum, aren't you pushing the air into the person too that might?
Personally, I don't care which direction it goes as long as I'm creating airway space. That's the goal, right? I don't necessarily need it to come up, but I need to create space in their airway for them to breathe, right? We can always remove it with medial forceps, which is a tool we use to pull objects out of the throat, or they can get it surgically removed at the hospital should they need to. But for right now, we need to get positive air exchange, right, through their airway. So whether we're pushing it down further so that it goes to one bronchia versus the other, or we're bringing it all the way up so that the airway is completely unrestricted, doesn't matter. We just need air movement. So if as a side effect of the push down that happens, so be it. It happens, right? They're really, really simple to use, which is nice. They're designed for the layperson with pretty much no training. You'll put it on, make your C-clamp like that. This higher angle portion is going to go over the nose, wrap around the chin. This is nice and soft so you can get a nice good seal. Push as far down as you can and then rip it back up. You see all that open space? That's what you want to see. Then immediately turn the person onto their side in the hopes that if something did come up, you can go ahead and clear that out.
Jared, if it doesn't, can you use it multiple times? If it doesn't come, you can.
Yep. But I would just move them to their side so that if there is something stuck in their mouth or their upper airway, you may be able to clear that just by moving them to their side, and then try it again if you need to.
Okay.
Right? That would be your best bet.
So we're allowed to ask a question?
Yeah.
So when my boyfriend was in the hospital, I asked the speech therapist there about using a device such as this. She said, oh, no, absolutely not, because you're going to push it further in. So that was her response, was absolutely not. You're going to push it further in. And you explain why that may or may not be helpful. But can't you suction it and then transfer it? Can't you like suction?
It's going to be really hard to get a really good push. I mean, if you really want to try, the problem is that when we talk about these high intensity environments, we lose a lot of fine motor skills, right? We lose a little bit of manual dexterity, we get some auditory exclusion, we get some tunnel vision, and you may not necessarily be able to cognitively say, hey, I'm going to push down off the person, put it on their face, get a good seal, and pull back. The idea is that it's basically a blunt force instrument. We're getting it on their face, pushing down as hard as we can, and pulling all the way up as best as possible so that we can get some movement one way or another. Does that make sense? You
think in that moment I wouldn't really be able to get a good seal and then transfer, like push it in and then
in that
transfer.
environment, your brain is not going to be able to make that decision. So your brain's not going to be able to say, hey, let me go ahead and put it down first.
Well, say what if my brain does make that decision? Is that a viable option?
Sure, if you think it's a viable option, absolutely. Just remember that there are still liability implications, as there are everything, right? The Good Samaritan law in Maryland does protect you for the most part, but the directions in here, which I encourage you to read after, do say that they want you to do it on the person. So just keep that in mind.
Oh, go ahead.
Isn't that a one-way valve?
On here, there's no one-way valve on here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's no one-way valve on here.
About the yellow cap that you just dislodged when you pulled it back out.
It's just because when I'm pulling back and I'm not actually pressing on something, it just keeps dislodging it. So you'll be fine.
I thought the yellow cap came off.
Nah. No, when I've been sitting here playing with it and messing with it, it came a little loose. No, it's not going anywhere. It's pretty tight in there, actually.
So I see it's advertised on TV a lot, but what is its success rate? You know what I'm trying to say.
From my limited knowledge about the statistics, they're actually pretty successful. I don't think they're any more successful than the Heimlich maneuver. The big thing about the Heimlich is that it's very difficult to do the Heimlich on somebody who is bigger than you, or that you can't wrap your arms around. So a couple guys got together and said, what can we do to fix that, right? What if you're with your kids? What if you're with the elderly or somebody who can't wrap their arms around you, you're significantly bigger than them? Well, this is what we can do, right? We create a mechanical device that forces air and uses suction and physics to pull objects out of your airway.
So is it FDA approved? I don't know. Did you say something along those lines? Or whoever approved
I actually think it says it on the information page.
I don't know.
I haven't distributed any of that information yet,
It's
Jerry.
okay. Yep, they're registered with the FDA, yep.
So the FDA gave it approval.
Well, registered with the FDA as a medical device doesn't necessarily mean that it's approved for specific use, but they've registered it as a medical device, which is helpful. If the FDA thought it was going to hurt somebody, then they wouldn't be able to distribute it. That makes sense. Any questions? Any other questions?
Can you talk about putting the apparatus together?
I'm going to leave it together for you.
I know, but just,
Oh, super simple. 2 parts. Okay, easy enough. We have our mask, our face mask, and the actual module itself. You're going to put the stem straight in the hole, push down, all done. That's it. And I'm going to leave it together.
And there's an adult size and a child size?
Here's your adult size, and then there's a pediatric size in there. All you got to do to change them out is pull it off, grab your other one, put it on. That's it. They are actually painfully simple.
And you said like standing up against a wall or sitting in a chair kind of thing is better?
Just because you're fighting gravity if you put them on the ground,
Okay.
right? It's harder to get something to go up than it is to get something to go out. So I prefer that they be
That makes sense.
sitting up.
and what if it was a baby?
I'd put them on the table.
Lay them down?
Yeah, put them on the table. Yeah, especially yeah. Most of the time you want to start with a baby. We're really an adult just with some back slaps. It does
Yeah.
a really good job. With a baby, you may have better leverage to do a Heimlich or a modified Heimlich than you would on an adult, so I would start there and see if that works first. If not, you can go ahead and switch to a LifeVac system like this, but I would encourage you to try manual methods first.
What age would you say you would switch from the child to the adult?
Just based on mask fit. right? So I would generally say that if you can't get this is a really, really small pediatric mask. So I'm going to estimate probably 10 or younger is going to be for that mask. Truly, if you can get this big mask to get a seal around their face, you can use this mask. This is when we talk about AEDs. If you really have only adult pads, you can still use them on children.
Then do you replace the clear part or do you sanitize it?
That's really up to you. I would probably just throw it out and buy a new one. You can get these for like $6 on Amazon.
They told us that if, it said on the information that if you use it, we can go back to the website and they'll send us a new one for free.
This part, yeah, you can go on their
No,
website.
the mask.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, if you use it in an emergency situation, yep, they'll give you a free replacement unit.
Yeah.
Even better. There you go.
And you buy them through Amazon, is that the best way? I don't know.
Where'd you guys buy it from?
Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. They're not
But
expensive.
that's the name brand, the Life Act.
Yeah, this is one of them. It's this one and the other one that I mentioned before are the two like most popular name brands. Otherwise, they're, you know.
Jared, you said you've not used that yourself.
I have never personally used this system before now.
There's one thing I was thinking about is wherever we have it displayed for the church, of course, if it's needed, whoever's going to use it, their adrenaline's going to be going pretty fast.
Mhm.
I was wondering how simplistic the instructions would be. We're lucky enough to be here.
They're pretty
listening to
simple.
you.
They're pretty simple. You can even put them up. They're pretty simple with pictures and big bold instructions. Pretty easy. Very, very, very easy.
Do you know of anyone who's used it successfully?
Nope, I've definitely seen their commercials, and I think they're pretty successful. They've grown significantly as a brand, so if that's any indication of how successful they are, if they weren't growing and people weren't buying them because they didn't work, then there's your answer. But they've grown significantly over the past couple of years.
And what's the other brand that sells something like that?
Something along the lines of like anti-choker or something.
Do you have those on the ambulance?
Mm-hmm.
You don't carry them with you?
Nah, we have McGill forceps that we can use. They're specially
Oh,
shaped forceps that allow us to just visualize an airway and actually go in and extract something that's
Oh.
stuck. It's just an advanced
We're
skill.
not doing that.
We don't want you grabbing a pair of scissors and trying to
Yeah.
No thanks.
go in there and
No, we're not
grab
doing
grab an object. So no, we don't have those, but that's because we have different training
Mhm.
to kind of help us. Any other questions? I know it's pretty quick, but that's all the device is. It's very simple to use. Very, very simple.
Do you have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I don't.
No, I was
I'm
just-
still thinking, but I don't have a
wondering.
question.
Do you have a recommendation on the placement of it?
I always recommend put everything in your AED cabinet. Everything centrally located in one place.
We're starting to run out of room with our AED cabinet, so we're gonna put a couple of shelves with it.
Yeah.
High enough that kids can't reach, but so that we have one first aid.
Yeah, what a lot of places do is they just get a second AED cabinet, put it right next to it. One's first aid, one's AEDs.
Yeah.
Makes it super, super easy.
Our AED is just sitting in its own cabinet on the shelf right out in the narthex. So we'll add more shelves for, this sort of thing, along with the instructions and first aid kit and, like I said, blood pressure equipment and stop the bleed. Is there anything else you would recommend for a church like ours that we should have for first aid? I mean, for emergency
You have an AED, stop the bleed kit, first aid kit, and this.
blood pressure?
There's like nothing else. If you really wanted to stretch it, you could get an oxygen cylinder if you really felt like it, but it's really unnecessary. You guys
What was
all
the
set
other
up?
thing? What was the other thing that Catherine had said?
Oh,
Or
the
you had said
Narcan.
the fire department said. Was it the fire department?
Narcan, the sheriff's.
Oh, you
deputy
could put
recommended
Narcan if you really felt like it. I mean, do you know of anybody in your congregation who is or was an addict or?
No, I had been to a training for a relative who was having medical issues, and they recommended it too for anyone that lives with people that are on pain meds
Mhm.
for accidental.
Yeah, accidental overdoses.
Yeah.
Sure, you could.
I talked to,
You can walk into any pharmacy in the state of Maryland and ask for Narcan.
I talked to the lady who had done our CPR training, and she said that anybody that, Our congregation is of the older generation mostly. We don't have many teenagers. But she said that anybody that would be here overdosed on, that could possibly overdose on pain meds, like Oxy or something, it's probably not going to be coming to church on Sunday morning. She didn't think it was something that we needed, but what's your opinion?
I think that's quite an overgeneralization. But in principle, I agree. I don't know that it's something that you need unless you really feel the need to have it, just in case.
Well, we do also have different groups that come in,
Yeah.
so.
It's
From a
cheap to get.
I don't think it's cheap. Is it cheap? Did it get cheap?
Really cheap. Yeah.
Cheap? Okay.
Yeah, it's like $35.
From a community perspective,
From any pharmacy, you go to Walgreens at 140 and 91 and just ask for Narcan. It's like $30.
Does it expire?
It does expire, but 2 years.
So that over 2 years isn't bad.
Yeah.
Is it the nasal?
Mhm.
Yeah, so then
And it'll come in
Real
a
simple.
prepackaged auto nasal, so you won't have to put anything together.
Does it have instructions?
Yep. Pictures and instructions. Everything will always have pictures and instructions.
Karen's and a pharmacist.
the health department for Carroll County used to give them out for free, but I don't know if they still.
They still have them.
Do they give them out for free though?
I don't know if they give them out for free.
Who was that?
The health department.
Well, I know Baltimore
health
County's
department.
health department does give them out for free.
Baltimore County?
Yep. Yeah, so Baltimore County does the layperson naloxone trainings once a month in Perry Hall. I don't know if Carroll County does that program.
while they were going around to like libraries.
Yeah.
Because I went to one of the libraries.
Oh, really?
That was probably 4 or 5 years ago. But
Now, it's changed because if you wanted to get Narcan from a pharmacy, you had to have one of those cards that said that you have been trained on through this program. Now, anybody in this room could walk into a pharmacy and get Narcan.
So
They've
who,
been having them at the library too.
Yep.
Out on the table for
Mhm.
people.
Oh, Narcan kids?
Pardon?
They have Narcan?
Yeah, they have
kids?
the sponsored Leave Behind kits.
I think they have some of a different brand also, if I'm not mistaken.
They have the actual Narcan branded kits.
The library, are they free or are they charging them?
They're free.
Just like the,
COVID kit?
It's part of the health department's Leave
COVID.
Behind program.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the sheriff's office, all the fire companies, all have these sponsored Leave Behind kits from the health department where you have somebody who has a opioid overdose, we leave a kit behind so you have it for the future.
Oh, do you really?
Mhm.
Because in the hospital, we give them out for the people coming with opiate.
Mhm.
We give them one of those Narcan kits too.
Yep.
But technically, you think they did a leave behind and there's a Narcan kit at the house too?
Usually there is. Whether they use it or not is
Well, and it's hard, like even if I ask that question, I don't know if I'd get.
an honest answer.
Well, I mean, if they needed to come, they might not know anyhow.
Yeah.
Besides the lying part.
No, you're correct.
But,
So we'll make sure people are aware that Heimlich comes first. That's your first.
Mhm.
Call
Yeah, try
911,
that first.
use the Heimlich, and then if it's unsuccessful or you're unable to do it, then we can
Yeah.
go to this.
Yeah, the Heimlich can get things moving the right direction and then you can suction it out.
so since you're here, can I ask you in my first aid kit what medications you want in
What medication specifically?
In the first
I-
aid
there?
kit?
Yeah, really specific.
Like Tylenol, ibuprofen, aspirin,
So, what does aspirin?
324, 325.
Chewable?
Chewable's probably better, yeah.
Benadryl?
If you want to have Benadryl.
Well, I put aspirin in them.
Yeah.
Chewable aspirin, and I put Benadryl in there. But I figured any pain meds they can get.
Yeah,
I
just
don't
make
need
sure that you're asking people if they're allergic to Benadryl or
Or
aspirin first.
But I didn't put any pain meds in there because I figured we're close to this,
Yeah.
I just need whatever's going to save their life.
Yep.
So I was only thinking aspirin and Benadryl.
That should be it. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to come back if you need me to come back again. Didn't take very long, so.
We're an easy group.
I guess that's it.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Happy to-
Jared.
Happy to stop by. It's not far, so. I left it